Hey folks, Jim McMillan here with Ironwood Contracting. Wanted to put a little video together and give you some helpful info on your next painting project that you might be planning. Help you to avoid some headaches, avoid some pitfalls, make an informed decision on what you're doing, and in the end, help you to get what you pay for. We all work hard for our money, and none of us like to waste it. So hopefully this will help you. Take a few minutes of your time and try and educate you. I'm a licensed bonded contractor here in Arizona. We've got about 30 years experience. We specialize in residential work, uh, stucco, trim, that sort of thing. And four things you might want to look out for, the common mistakes, the pitfalls, some of the stories that we hear. These are the four main ones. First thing you want to do is to make sure that they're a licensed contractor. I mean, there's people out there with the best of intentions, but if they don't have a license, there's really no recourse. So you want to just make sure that they have a license number on their cards and on their contracts, and that way you'll be insured to get at least someone that's took the time and the effort to get licensed with the state. The other thing you want to do is just make sure that they put the entire price in writing. You want to have it in writing before you sign it to you know exactly what you're going to pay. You want the contract to also state that the labor and the material are included in the price, not just one or the other. I've heard some horror stories where they give an estimate and they put that the labor is involved but not the material, and they get another bill at the end of the job that they weren't expecting. So you just want to state that the labor and the materials are all included. And then you want a good, clear start and end date. You know, it does take a little time to paint the house, but you don't want anyone there for 3 weeks. Especially don't want them there for a couple of days, gone for a couple of days. You never know when they're going to show up. They don't call. You know, there's no clear communication. So you just definitely want to get a start and an end date within reason. And a few things you want to think about is pressure cleaning. You want to make sure that they're going to pressure clean the house. It's far better to start with a nice, clean surface. It really helps the paint to stick better. So you don't want them to do anything by hand. You want them to use a big machine. Instead of scraping the house or brooming it off, you want them to use a nice big power washer to really remove all the dirt and the peels and the debris from the house. Second thing you want to think about is the color choice. You know, a lot of times people will ask me to, paint the house a dark, dark color. And what they haven't thought about is when I bring up the fact that it's going to fade faster and that it's going to draw a lot more heat, the walls of the exterior of the house are going to be a lot warmer. They tend to rethink their choices. So just remember that the darker color, the faster it will fade, and it'll drastically bring down the life of the paint job. Another thing is paint company. We like to use local paint companies that formulate their paint for this southwestern desert climate and our UV factor. We have a lot higher UV factor than other states. So the national brands, they're great paints, but we like to stick with paints like Frazee and Dunn Edwards that are pretty much formulated for the southwestern climate. And another thing you probably want to consider is avoid giving deposits. We hear a lot of horror stories in this business about people taking huge deposits and then not doing the work in a timely manner. So if you have a fairly reputable company, they should have the capital to fund the job themselves and then just expect a check at the end. That's usually the best way to do things. And finally, my pitch. You guys knew it was coming, right? You was wondering when. Well, here it is. All of these things that we've spoke about all come standard with me. Whether you knew these things or you were educated in this, my contract would have said all of that anyway. We like to treat everybody above board. We really like to build a relationship with our customers because referrals are our biggest lead generator. If we make you happy, which is second thing, my business model is that if I underpromise and overdeliver and really make every effort to make you happier than you thought you were going to be and make the entire job just a pleasure to have done, you're a lot more apt to recommend me to your friends and your family and your neighbors, and give us a good testimonial like some of the ones you've seen on my website here. And the other thing is we don't use salesmen. If you make an appointment with us or you consider us for your job, It will either be myself or my father coming to see you. You only deal with us. So if you hire us from start to finish, you're only either dealing with me or my father. We don't use salesmen or middlemen or go-betweens. We don't, push you off to the secretary and not take your phone calls. Everything is done with open communication. You'll have both my cell phone and my father's, and you'll just be able to get a hold of us whenever you need to. Well, that's about it. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this, and hopefully I've give you content that'll kind of help you avoid any problems or headaches with your next painting project. And if you're not in the market right now, you might want to subscribe to my email list. A lot of times we'll get a gap in the schedule, or we'll put out some deals and try and fill those slots with offering like a 10 or a 15% discount for a couple of people, the first couple of people to act. So we don't send out spam or anything like that, but just subscribe to the email list, and there's deals and offers in there. So thanks again, and have a nice day.